Hey friends. Tonight, let's chat about a topic that might sound a bit like we're splitting hairs. You see, over 100 years ago, in the Victorian era, a time without one-click beautification apps or quick styling sprays, just how much precious time and energy did a respectable English gentleman dedicate violence to grooming his iconic beard each day? Just thinking about it, you get the sense that Jejic unhurried, meticulous refinement wasn't something achieved effortlessly. Perhaps it was a much grander affair than our modern-day dilemma of whether to hit snooze for an extra 5 minutes or get up to style our hair. If you, too, have a touch of curiosity about these details of the past, and enjoy listening to stories at night that aren't necessarily thrilling but have their own unique charm, feel free to give this a like, or perhaps quietly subscribe. I'd also love for you to share in the comments where you are right now, what the night looks like outside your window, as you listen to this voice. Alright, maybe dim the lights around you a little more, let yourself completely relax. And together, let's slowly step into that era with mist and coal smoke, to experience those moments when a Victorian gentleman, waking in the faint light of dawn, began his battle with his beard. Permeating the air of 19th century Britain, besides the billowing smoke from the Industrial Revolution, was a fervent beard craze. This wasn't just a fad among a small group. It was a trend that swept through almost the entirety of male society. From high-ranking dignitaries and sirs to diligent artisans in factories, from learned scholars and professors to sea captains embarking on distant adventures, sporting various meticulously groomed beards seemed to have become an unwritten rule. It was a symbol of maturity, stability, masculinity, and even wisdom and authority. This renaissance of the beard, in part, had origins tied to the airs of the battlefield. During the Crimean War, soldiers in harsh frontline conditions discovered that growing a beard not only protected against the cold but was also much more convenient to manage than daily shaving. When these bearded warriors, looking exceptionally heroic and resolute, returned victorious, their image undoubtedly influenced popular aesthetics. Suddenly, beards became closely associated with staunch qualities like patriotism and bravery. Subsequently, the medical community also added fuel to the fire, with some doctors and scholars proclaiming that beards were natural air filters, capable of blocking dust and germs, thus benefiting health. With this, sporting a beard was not only respectable but also seemed quite scientifically minded. So why not? Consequently, beards of all styles sprouted like bamboo shoots after rain on the chins and cheeks of gentlemen. There was the balbal, dense as a thicket, lending an air of unstated authority. The imperial, meticulously trimmed with slightly upturned ends, carrying a hint of pride and artistic nonchalance. And the friendly mutton chops, connected to the mustache and covering a large part of the cheeks, exuding an aura of honesty and reliability. Some high society clubs even had unwritten expectations regarding their members' beard styles, as if the fashion and length of a beard had also become a sort of code for identity. Of course, behind such a fashion lay an unspoken investment of time and energy. Possessing a lush and perfectly styled beard was by no means an overnight achievement, nor the result of letting nature take its course. It required day after day of meticulous care, and this care often began quietly, from the very moment gentlemen opened their eyes in the faint light of each morning. Now, imagine you are such a gentleman, living in London in the 1870s or 80s. A few slivers of grayish morning light seep through the gaps in the curtains, and the air carries a faint, almost imperceptible smell of coal smoke, a characteristic scent of London. You stretch and slowly awaken in your soft bed. Your nightcap might be a little askew, but that's unimportant for now. You subconsciously reach up to touch your cheek. Ah, that beard you take such pride in, after a night of recuperation, is currently announcing its presence in its most natural, and also most unruly state. Perhaps, before falling asleep last night, you even carefully wrapped it in soft silk or fine cotton cloth to prevent it from being misshapen during sleep, or to stop those nourishing beard oils from staining the pillowcase. Even so, it's inevitably a bit fluffy now, with a few disobedient strands deviating from their carefully set formation. You rise, the heavy dressing gown feeling a little cool as it envelopes you. The fire in the hearth died out last night, and the room isn't warm. You walk to the dressing table, where the silver-rimmed mirror reflects your slightly sleepy face and that important companion, occupying half of it. This mirror, for the next hour or even longer, will be your most faithful advisor. First, the beard must be brought back to reason. You don't just splash some water on it. Oh no, that would be too crude, an insult to this carefully cultivated masterpiece. Your servant, if your family is well off, has probably already prepared warm water. You might first take a soft towel, soaked in warm water, and gently apply it to your beard, allowing those hairs that became somewhat stiff during sleep to slowly loosen up, and also letting your pores relax. This process is like awakening a slumbering nobleman. It requires patience and gentleness. You feel the warm steam gradually penetrate, and the beard begins to soften and become compliant. This step of applying the warm towel might take you about a quarter of an hour, unhurried, as if performing some sacred ritual. Next comes cleansing. It's not as simple as a quick rub with ordinary soap. Victorian gentlemen were quite particular about their beard cleaning products. There were specialized beard soaps on the market, usually containing moisturizing ingredients like glycerin, and with relatively subtle scents, such as sandalwood, cedarwood, or some understated floral fragrance. You carefully work the beard soap into a fine lather in your palms, then evenly apply it to every strand of your beard, from root to tip, massaging gently. This process is not only to remove any dust or skin oils that may have accumulated overnight, but also to maintain the beard's healthy sheen and pleasant scent. You wouldn't rinse it off hastily. Instead, you let the lather sit on the beard for a moment to ensure the cleansing ingredients work their magic thoroughly. Then, with warm water, you painstakingly, bit by bit, rinse the lather completely away. This step is crucial, as any residual soap could cause skin irritation or leave the beard dry and lackluster. So, you might repeatedly scoop up clear water, gently stroking it through your beard, until you feel every strand is fresh and smooth. This washing process alone, from lathering to a thorough rinse, would probably consume a good deal of your time, unlikely to be finished in under 20 minutes. At this moment, your beard hangs wetly on your cheeks. Though clean, it resembles a small animal caught in the rain, devoid of any style. But this is just the first step. The real, sculpting project is yet to come. You will use a clean, highly absorbent thick towel to gently pat the moisture from your beard. Remember, it's patting, not rough rubbing. Wet hair is relatively fragile, and excessive friction could damage it, even leading to breakage or split ends, minor flaws that a Victorian gentleman striving for perfection would find intolerable. You might change angles several times, using different parts of the towel, patiently dabbing away the moisture bit by bit, ensuring it reaches a state of being slightly damp but not dripping, optimally prepared for the subsequent combing and styling. In the mirror, your sleepiness has largely dissipated, replaced by a look of concentration. Yes, merely the initial morning cleansing and tidying of the beard is already such a meticulous and painstaking routine. This isn't just for personal hygiene, it's more like an affirmation of self-identity and a response to societal expectations. The beard, in that era, was a gentleman's second face, and couldn't be treated casually. And all this was just the beginning. What followed? How to comb it, how to style it, how to make it exude a charming luster and just the right fragrance. That was another period requiring patience and skill. This initial cleansing and awakening has already quietly occupied at least 30 to 40 minutes, or even an hour, of your morning, and you, willingly. Because you know that this meticulously groomed beard will be your important asset today as you confidently walk the streets of London and frequent various social gatherings. Alright, in the mirror, your beard has been initially restored to cleanliness and softness, but it's still a considerable distance from exhibiting that perfect form of maturity, refinement, and even a touch of majesty that you desire. Now, the true, fine sculpting is just beginning. This isn't simply a matter of a few quick combs. Every step embodies your utmost pursuit of detail and, of course, quietly consumes your precious morning time. You reach out and from the set of tools on your dressing table specifically prepared for your beard, you select a comb of smooth, fine texture. The comb itself might be a small work of art. Wealthier gentlemen might possess combs of ivory, tortoiseshell, or even with pure silver handles, the spacing and thickness of the teeth carefully designed to suit beards of different densities and lengths. Those of humbler means might use horn or hardwood combs, but they are cherished all the same. You begin by using the end with slightly wider teeth, very gently, starting from the roots of the beard and combing downwards, section by section. The purpose of this action is to undo any small tangles that might have formed during washing and drying, and also to ensure that every strand of hair is in its proper place, following its intended direction. Your movements are very gentle, with an almost meditative focus. If you encounter a stubborn tangle, you would never pull at it roughly. That would damage the hair follicles and could even cause breakage. You would patiently use the tip of the comb to tease it apart bit by bit, or use your fingers to assist, as if handling a precious piece of silk. This initial combing process, depending on the thickness and length of your beard, might take you 10 minutes to a quarter of an hour. As you comb, you examine the effect in the mirror, ensuring no little troubles are overlooked. After the initial combing, you might switch to a comb with finer teeth, or a special beard brush. Such brushes are typically made of boar bristles, the stiffness of which is just right, effective enough to remove any dander or fine dust hidden deep within the beard, while also massaging the skin to promote blood circulation, which was said to help the beard grow healthier and more lustrous. You use the brush, again from root to tip, meticulously brushing every section of your beard. This process not only makes the beard appear neater and fuller but also helps to distribute the skin's natural oils evenly throughout the beard, forming a natural protective film. The force and angle of brushing require accumulated experience. Some gentlemen would even brush different areas, such as the center of the chin, the cheeks, and the upper lip, using different techniques and dedicating varying amounts of time to each. This round of brushing, and another 10 minutes have quietly slipped by. Now, the basic shape of the beard has emerged, but those occasionally disobedient, slightly maverick, stubborn hairs, what we often call stray hairs, or hairs that have grown too quickly, require more precise treatment. This is where a small, sharp pair of beard trimming scissors comes in handy. These scissors usually have curved tips, facilitating operation close to the facial contours. You lean closer to the mirror, your gaze focused, holding your breath, and carefully snip away those individual hairs that spoil the overall look. This is definitely a delicate task that tests your eyesight, hand strength, and patience. Every opening and closing of the scissors must be precise. Cutting too much would create an unsightly gap, while cutting too little wouldn't achieve the perfect effect. You might need to step back occasionally to examine the overall effect from different angles, then lean forward again for fine adjustments. This trimming process can take a short or long time, entirely dependent on your dedication to perfection and how cooperative your beard is today. It could be as little as 3 to 5 minutes, or as much as 10 to 20 minutes, all for that perfectly refined outline. Once the physical shaping is complete, it's time for the various magic potions to make their appearance. That is, the wide array of beard care products. In the Victorian era, gentlemen's use of beard oils, balms, and waxes was already quite common and sophisticated. You might first put a few drops of beard oil in your palm, rub your hands together evenly, and then gently massage it into your beard and the skin beneath. These beard oils were usually made from a blend of natural vegetable oils, like jojoba oil, almond oil, grapeseed oil, etc., often infused with various essential oils, exuding scents such as sandalwood, cedar, bergamot, or more complex blends. They not only nourished the beard, making it soft and shiny, but also imparted your favorite unique scent, which was part of your personal signature. The process of applying beard oil was also a pleasure. You meticulously ensured every strand was moisturized. If your beard is quite thick, or if you want it to have better hold, then you might next use beard balm or beard wax. Beard balm has a thicker consistency than oil, usually containing ingredients like beeswax and shea butter. It has both nourishing properties and provides a certain amount of shaping power, making the beard look more manageable and stylish. You would scrape a small amount of beard balm with your fingernail, emulsify it in your palm, then apply it evenly to your beard, using a comb or brush to help shape it as desired. And for those gentleman-specific styles, such as needing the mustache to curl upwards, or the chin beard to maintain a particular direction, beard wax was an indispensable secret weapon. Beard wax has a higher beeswax content and offers very strong hold. You would take a small amount of beard wax, soften it with the warmth of your fingers, then twirl it onto the ends of the hairs that needed styling, carefully shaping the desired curve or point. This process tested skill immensely, especially for intricate beard styles like the Hungarian, or Dali-esque, curled mustache. Just waxing and setting 2 small mustache points could take a good while. You face the mirror, holding your breath, and carefully twist with your fingertips until those 2 little tufts present a perfect, symmetrical, elegantly upturned arc. Each step of application and shaping has quietly stolen at least another 15 to 20 minutes of your time. Some particularly meticulous gentlemen might even have used beard dyes of the time. Of course, dyeing techniques then were far inferior to modern ones, and products were mostly based on natural plants or minerals. The effects might not have been very long-lasting, and could even carry some risks. However, to cover prematurely graying hairs, to better match the beard color with their hair, or simply to pursue a fashionable dark shade, some were willing to spend extra time and money to try. This process, if done at home, would undoubtedly be another time-consuming major undertaking. In your daily morning grooming routine, the beard care segment alone, from cleansing, combing, trimming, to applying various oils, balms, and waxes, all tallied up, an hour was a basic requirement, and an hour and a half was not at all unusual. If it was a day requiring special attention, or an important occasion, spending 2 hours on this face-saving project was not out of the realm of possibility. Of course, not all gentlemen possessed the patience or skill to independently complete all the complex beard styling and maintenance. For many, regular visits to a professional barbershop were also an important part of beard care. Victorian barbershops were much more than just places for haircuts and shaves. To some extent, they functioned as community centers and exclusive men's social clubs. The air was filled with the steam from hot towels, the mixed aroma of various hair and beard oils, and the low hum of men's conversations. A skilled barber held a respected social position at the time. They could not only design and trim the most suitable beard style for you based on your face shape, temperament, and personal preferences, but also offer a full suite of beard care services. Imagine yourself comfortably reclined in the barber's chair, your face covered with a steaming hot towel, allowing your pores to fully open and your beard to soften. Subsequently, the barber would use his set of gleaming tools, sharp razors, various scissors, combs, brushes, to meticulously sculpt your face. He might use special beard dyes to adjust your color, hot curling tongs to create fashionable curls in your mustache, and then his proprietary beard oils and pomades for the final styling and scenting. Receiving a comprehensive beard grooming service at a barbershop was not as simple as a quick application at home. From waiting, to enjoying the full service, to chatting a bit with the barber and other customers, 1 or 2 hours, or even longer, could easily be whiled away. Many gentlemen might indulge in this professional care weekly, or at least before attending important social events. Barbers would even sell their own concocted beard care products or high-end imported goods from continental Europe, and customers were happy to pay for them. Scholars sometimes peruse advertisements or barbers' diaries, if found, from that period, attempting to reconstruct the specific ingredients and efficacy of these care products. Some claims sound quite amusing, such as an oil proclaiming it could make a beard grow 3 inches overnight. Its authenticity, naturally, remains to be verified. So, whether it was the daily meticulous sculpting in front of the mirror at home, or the professional services enjoyed regularly at the barbershop, the time and effort Victorian gentlemen invested in their remarkable beards far exceeded what we might imagine today. This was not just a personal habit, but a construction and maintenance of social identity. That extreme attention to detail, that uncomplaining patience, were deeply imprinted on every carefully groomed strand of beard, silently narrating the unique customs of that era. After that meticulous, almost reverent, grooming session in the early morning, a Victorian gentleman, adorned with his carefully sculpted beard, could finally step into his day of social life. This beard was not merely an appendage on his face. It was more like a silent social calling card, a declaration of identity, conveying rich and subtle messages to the surrounding world in different settings. All that considerable time and energy invested each morning would now be transformed into intangible capital in the social arena. In 19th century Britain, the form of a beard could almost be considered a language. In the solemn halls of Parliament, or at heavily guarded military command posts, you would see those dense, neatly trimmed, and even slightly imposing beard styles, such as the renowned Balbal, or the heavy walrus. Such beards invisibly enhanced the owner's sense of authority and gravitas, as if proclaiming, "This man is experienced, trustworthy, and not to be trifled with." When a politician delivered a speech, his beard, quivering slightly with his impassioned words, seemed to add an undeniable force to his rhetoric. One can imagine that to maintain this sense of power, the time he spent daily grooming this thick beard would be no less than an hour. In academia, however, such as in university lecture halls or at Royal Society meetings, the beard styles favored by professors and scholars might differ slightly. Perhaps it was a more restrained goatee, combined with a mustache, appearing wise and thoughtful, or a slightly untamed, not perfectly regular scholar's beard, suggesting the owner was more focused on the intellectual world than on worldly formalities. However, even if untamed, it was by no means scruffy. That seemingly casual style had often also undergone careful morning combing and moderate trimming, perhaps with a little beard oil to add a natural sheen and prevent it from looking too dry or frizzy. After all, an intellectual's respectability was also partly vested in this facial hair. Some scholars even believed that beard growth was related to brain activity. Although this claim lacks scientific basis today, at the time, it undoubtedly added another layer of wisdom to the aura of having a beard. beards in business settings were more focused on conveying a signal of reliability and success. A banker, the owner of a large company, or a senior lawyer would typically choose beard styles that looked respectable without being overly ostentatious. A neat outline, moderate length, and meticulous maintenance all told clients and partners, "I pay attention to detail, I am trustworthy, and my business is as well managed as my beard." If, before an important business negotiation, you noticed your counterpart's beard was lustrous and every hair in place, you would probably weigh in your mind that this opponent was likely a meticulous and well-prepared individual. And this preparedness, naturally, also included the time he invested in his beard. Now, imagine you are a gentleman navigating the Victorian social scene. Tonight you are attending a grand ball at a nobleman's residence. The thought you put into your beard probably exceeds that put into choosing the color of your cravat. The hour plus of meticulous grooming in the morning was just the foundation. In the afternoon, you might perform a touch-up. You would stand before the mirror, re-examining every detail of your beard. Are the curls of your mustache perfectly symmetrical? Are the lines of your cheek beard still sharp and neat? Are there any inopportune food crumbs or traces of drink subtly hidden? You might recomb it, add a little pleasantly scented beard balm to make it gleam charmingly under the evening lights. As you step into the glittering ballroom, the air is filled with the sense of perfume, bouquets, and a faint hint of cigars. You glance around. Almost all the men sport beards, in various forms, like a flowing exhibition of facial hair. You subconsciously straighten your chest. You are quite confident in your meticulously groomed, imperial beard. The slightly upturned mustache, paired with a neatly trimmed chin beard, gives you an air of military dash combined with artistic flair. You notice a young officer nearby, his beard a typical British Army mustache, thick and neatly covering his upper lip, with the ends shaved clean, exuding a disciplined neatness. Behind this lay the strict daily grooming standards of the military, and a long-standing habit of care. You exchange pleasantries with an elderly banker. He sports Dundreary whiskers, also jokingly called mutton chop whiskers, extending from his temples down the sides of his chin, connected to his mustache, while the center of his chin is cleanly shaven. This rather distinctive beard required immense patience for daily trimming and maintenance to preserve its unique shape, otherwise it could easily look comical. His whiskers are impeccably groomed, every hair gleaming healthily. You can almost picture him in the morning with his servant, spending no less than an hour and a half perfecting this signature structure. As you converse with him, his mutton chops, fanning slightly as he speaks, seem to emphasize his social standing and wealth. A fashionably dressed young poet walks past you. He has a relatively sparse but uniquely styled artist's beard, perhaps even with a symbolic Van Gogh-esque reddish hue. His beard doesn't aim for density but pursues a deliberate, disheveled beauty, every strand seemingly carefully designed, exuding romance and nonchalance. You surmise that to maintain this, seemingly effortless, effect, he probably spent a good deal of time fussing in front of the mirror, likely using plenty of beard waxes and styling products. In such settings, beard details often revealed a great deal. For instance, you might observe that a gentleman who is usually impeccably turned out has a somewhat lackluster beard tonight, perhaps even with one or two unruly stray hairs not properly dealt with. You would speculate, was he particularly busy today, neglecting this important daily task? Or did he encounter some vexation that left him with no mood for beard grooming? In that era of appearance, such subtle lapses could be noticed and silently interpreted. Some historians, when perusing diaries or letters from the period, occasionally find interesting entries, such as someone complaining that because his barber was ill, his beard was not timely groomed, causing him to miss an important social opportunity or feel less confident in a crowd. These academic interludes remind us that beards were truly no small matter back then. Even in the realms of courtship and the marriage market, beards played an indispensable role. A man with a lush, healthy, and meticulously groomed beard was often more likely to be considered full of masculine charm, physically robust, and capable of protecting and providing for a family, an ideal partner. Conversely, a sparse or poorly groomed beard might be seen as a sign of lacking masculinity, or even poor health. Young ladies, under their mother's tutelage, also learned to make preliminary judgments about a man's character, status, and health from his beard. One can imagine that a young gentleman eager to find a match, in order to make a perfect first impression on his desired lady, would be willing to invest double, or even triple the time and effort in his beard. He might start special care days in advance, use higher-grade beard oils, or even consult the most famous barber to design a beard style that best highlighted his strengths. Before every date, the preparation in front of the mirror, from head to toe, would be immense, and the beard, absolutely a top priority, would be the most time-consuming part. Clergymen, too, often had beards that bore the mark of their profession. For example, ministers of some denominations might wear simpler, less adorned beards to show their piety and austerity, while some high-ranking bishops might possess beards with a greater sense of authority and ceremony. In any case, cleanliness and neatness were basic requirements, a form of respect for their sacred duties. Even those in professions seemingly least in need of public appearance, such as writers or scholars, often used their beards to express their personality and stance. Charles Dickens's iconic mustache and small chin-tuft combination became almost a part of his personal image, and scientist Charles Darwin's dense, long white beard in his later years further enhanced his wise, elderly demeanor. These celebrity effects, in turn, also promoted the popularity of specific beard styles. Therefore, Victorian gentlemen, regardless of the social occasion or their profession, found their beards speaking ceaselessly. And behind every utterance lay the considerable time and effort spent daily in front of the mirror, morning, and perhaps even afternoon and evening. From selecting the right tools and products to patiently combing, trimming, oiling, waxing, and styling, no step could be rushed. This extreme focus on the beard was not merely a pursuit of beauty. It was an adherence to social norms, a shaping of self-identity, and a way to gain voice and recognition in social interactions. That day-in, day-out persistence, that dedication which might seem like making a fuss over nothing, to others, was precisely a vivid detail constituting the unique character of that era. And all the time accumulated from this, if calculated by day, month, or year, would amount to a rather astonishing figure. Night falls, and the clamor of London gradually settles, replaced by a hazy glow from the gas lamps and the occasional distant clatter of horse hooves. You, having finished a day of official duties, social engagements, or family gatherings, return with a touch of fatigue to your own quiet space. The flames in the hearth leap and dance, casting warm, flickering shadows, and the room is filled with the faint scent of tobacco and old books. Today, your beard has fought battles alongside you, enduring parliamentary debates, business negotiations, or high-flown discussions in salons. At this moment, it might not be as impeccably neat and spirited as when you left home in the morning. Perhaps, at dinner, a tiny trace of sauce was accidentally acquired. Perhaps, while rushing through the streets, it attracted the ubiquitous dust in London's air. Or perhaps, simply due to a full day of activity, those carefully crafted curls and arcs have grown a bit weary, no longer so pert. You walk to the dressing table, once again facing that familiar mirror. In it your face shows weariness, but your eyes remain calm. and your beard, this faithful companion, awaits its final care of the day. Evening beard grooming, compared to the grand affair of the morning, is usually somewhat simplified, but by no means perfunctory. You no longer apply hot towels for an extended period as you did in the morning, but you still use warm water, with a small amount of mild beard soap, to gently cleanse it. This is mainly to wash away the grime accumulated throughout the day and any residue from styling products applied earlier, such as beard wax. This process remains gentle, avoiding any pulling. The temperature of the water is just right, bringing a sense of soothing relief. After cleansing, you pat it dry with a soft towel and once again pick up your beloved beard comb. The evening combing is more about relaxation and maintenance. Slowly, strand by strand, you comb through your beard, allowing it to return to its natural smoothness. This process also feels like shedding your own tension and fatigue from the day. Under the lamplight, the comb glides through the hair, making a subtle, reassuring sound. You might spend about 10 minutes enjoying this tranquil ritual. Next comes the evening nourishment. Unlike the daytime, when you might use waxes or thicker balms primarily for styling and fragrance, at night, you would most likely opt for lighter textured beard oils that focus more on repair and nourishment, or a very small amount of conditioning balm with almost no styling effect. You put a few drops in your palm, rub them warm, and then evenly massage them into your beard and the skin beneath. The chosen scent might also be softer, such as lavender or chamomile. These natural aromas, known for their sleep-inducing properties, will accompany you into your dreams. This nourishment not only repairs any hair damage that may have occurred during the day but also continuously provides moisture to the beard and skin throughout the night, preventing dryness. If your beard is particularly long, or if you are exceptionally precious about its shape, you might even take some extra protective measures before bed. For instance, using a beard snood, or beard bag, made of soft silk or fine cotton to gently enclose the beard, or using special ribbons to tie it up. This is done to prevent it from being misshapen by tossing and turning during sleep, or from becoming frizzy and damaged by friction against the bedding. Of course, this is usually an advanced operation, undertaken by gentlemen with extremely long or uniquely styled beards. For most, a thorough cleansing and nourishing routine is sufficient. The entire evening beard care routine, though simpler than in the morning, from cleansing to final nourishment, if done diligently, still requires at least 20 minutes to half an hour. You look in the mirror, seeing your beard restored to neatness and softness after its grooming. Though no longer deliberately styled as it was during the day, it exudes a quiet tidiness. This final daily ritual is not just about grooming one's appearance. It's more like a form of self-care, a commitment to a quality life. Day after day, year after year, this very persistence forms part of a Victorian gentleman's life. Reviewing the entire day, from the first meticulous grooming in the faint light of dawn, to possible touch-ups during the day, such as wiping after meals, or reapplying wax before important meetings, and now the final care in the dead of night, a discerning Victorian gentleman spent a considerable amount of time on his beard. Let's make a rough estimate. An hour and a half of deep grooming in the morning was common. If there were important social engagements during the day, at least half an hour of additional trimming and touch-ups would be involved, and then another half hour for cleaning and nourishing before bed. Calculated this way, in a single day, merely for these 3,000 troublesome strands, beneath his chin, 2.5 to 3 hours, or even more, would be consumed. This doesn't even include the time spent on regular visits to the barbershop for professional care and complex styling, which could easily take up an entire afternoon. If we extend this timescale to a week, a month, a year, or even his entire adult life of wearing a beard, then the total time a Victorian gentleman spent grooming his beard would probably be measured in months, or even years. It sounds almost incredible that such a huge investment of time was made for facial hair. But this was the reality of that era. In the Victorian period, beards were endowed with social significance and cultural connotations far exceeding their natural attributes. They were symbols of masculinity, labels of social status, expressions of personal taste, and even some external proof of moral character. Whether a gentleman's beard was neat, healthy, and stylish directly related to his public image, influencing his social life, career, and even marriage prospects. Therefore, they were willing to invest a great deal of time and energy to meticulously maintain this facade. This extreme focus on beards also fostered related industries, from various beard combs, brushes, and scissors to a wide array of beard soaps, oils, balms, waxes, and dyes, as well as professional barbers and the detailed services they provided. Together, they formed a unique landscape of the Victorian era. Scholars studying advertisements, consumption records, and etiquette manuals of the time often marvel at the financial and energetic investments people made in hair and beard grooming. Some etiquette manuals would even provide detailed guidance to gentlemen on how to choose and groom their beards according to different occasions and face shapes, with a level of detail comparable to a modern fashion magazine. Of course, we must also see that this fashion was not without its critics. Some satirical cartoons and articles of the time also gently poked fun at this excessive attention to beards, hinting at its vanity and superficiality. However, in mainstream society, a well-groomed beard remained an indispensable part of a gentleman's identity. This was not merely a pursuit of beauty. On a deeper level, it was an acknowledgement of Victorian core values such as order, discipline, and self-control. A man who could persist in grooming his beard meticulously day after day, year after year, was, to some extent, also seen as proof of his ability to manage his own life and affairs. With the changing times, especially the popularization of safety razors in the early 20th century, the impact of 2 world wars on social customs, and the evolution of hygiene concepts, the trend of men wearing beards gradually declined. People began to pursue simpler, more convenient lifestyles, and the time spent on beards was correspondingly greatly reduced. That time-consuming and laborious beard culture slowly became sealed in the memories of history. But whenever we look at those yellowed old photographs, seeing those Victorian gentlemen, whether politicians, soldiers, scholars, or businessmen, their meticulously groomed, variously styled beards still silently tell us of the pride, respectability, and fastidiousness of that era. It wasn't just hair, it was the sedimentation of time, the imprint of culture, a microcosm of a generation's way of life. Those accumulated hours each day were condensed into every carefully combed and nourished strand of beard, leaving a unique and profound mark in the long river of history. The night deepens. London outside your window has long since fallen asleep under the gas lamps. In the mirror, you, with this final adherence to your appearance, are also ready to end this long and fulfilling day. Your beard is in order, your mind at peace. The day's beard epic has finally drawn to a close. Those memories of beards, those complex tools, those delicate thoughts, all gradually fade and recede with the passage of time. Like an old dream, a dream of a London shrouded in mist, of impeccably dressed gentlemen, of their proud beards quivering slightly as they talked and laughed. Now, that dreamscape should gently close. Good night, sweet dreams.